a county, not a city council meeting. This meeting is for information purposes only. Of course, this is concerning the proposed Woodbury Village. Turn my mic on. Yeah. Got your mic. That better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got the mic. You don't have to turn it off, you're not gonna talk. It won't be much coming out of the council member tonight, cause this is just a public hearing. I mean, a town hall meeting, as I said, and this, proposed development is concerned a lot of people. And I want to make sure that we are just as transparent as we can possibly be concerning this development. So that's why I have called this town hall meeting, and it will be informational only. There are just a few rules that I need to make you aware of. I'm gonna allow anybody who wants to speak, I'm gonna allow you 4 minutes to do so. Let me just read this to you. Members of the public shall not make inappropriate or offensive comments at this meeting and are expected to comply with the rules of decorum that are established for our council members. Individuals who violate any rules of this decorum will be ruled out of order by the mayor, a majority vote, and the individual who violates the rules of decorum with the intention of disturbing the council, with the intention to disturb the town hall meeting, may be removed from the meeting at the direction of the mayor. So those are just kind of a few guidelines that we will be paying attention to during this town hall meeting. The application that comes and the developers, they're gonna speak. And then you will have an opportunity to ask questions. I'll give you 4 minutes. That is in the interest of time and trying to make sure everybody has the opportunity to ask questions, say what they want to say. Because we have a council meeting scheduled at 7 o'clock. We've got a lot of that meeting, but we'll do the town hall meeting first. And this variance application has been submitted by CCC Property Management, LLC, and ACM Endeavors, LLC. Their spokesman tonight, I think, is Stephen. Will be the spokesman.
Yes, sir.
And Stephen, what I'm gonna do is allow you to make a presentation. And then after that, I will allow the audience here to ask you questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, and let me say also, we're not required to have this town hall meeting, but I want to have it in addition to 2 public hearings that we're gonna have. We got 2 more public hearings coming up in September 3rd with the Planning Commission. They will hear the application and then they will make a recommendation to deny or approve to the city council. Then on, I believe it's September 23rd, the 4th Monday of this month, this application will come to the city council, and that will be a public hearing. There will be minutes taken, there will be votes taken. City council will have the final say-so on whether this application is allowed to go forward. So with that, Stephen, I'll let you go ahead and make your presentation.
Council, I've got some poster boards up here too, but flip them around if necessary. Mayor, council, everyone here, thank you for coming to this town hall. As the mayor said, we wanted to take this opportunity to discuss the project before it goes to public hearings. My name is Stephen Jones. I'm with the law firm of Taylor English Duma. I'm accompanied today by the applicant's representative. The applicant is CCC Property Management and ACM Ventures. That's Mr. James Nicholson, who's sitting right here in front of me, as well as our 2 engineers. We've got a civil engineer with Moore-Bass Consulting, Steve Moore, as well as traffic consultant engineer, Mr. Mark Egg-Campora. At the outset, I want to tell everyone and show an overview of the property. You'll see here the property fronts on the state route. My pointer does not work on the television. and also on Barchi Road. It's an assemblage of properties owned by the two applicants. The properties are all currently zoned RMH, which is a multifamily district. The applications that are before the mayor and council and will be before the planning commission and then before the mayor and council are applications for variances. The properties are presently zoned for the development that we seek to do on the property. These applications are about variances that are necessary to make improvements to that plan that we think are necessary to put forth the best project possible. So I'm going to show you at first the plan that we want to do and that the variances will permit. There are two variances that are being requested. One would permit a development over 40 acres. There's an interesting provision in the Woodbury zoning ordinance for this zoning district that says these developments can be no more than 40 acres. So if we didn't get a variance from that provision, you would have to split the development in half and not have a cohesive development. You'd have to have an arbitrary line down the middle. The second one is to permit the front yards to be, the driveways to be more than 25% of the front yard. And I'll show you what the effect of that would be on a later slide. This development is intended to be singularly owned by the applicant and the property owner, so that these properties so that all of the homes here could be for rent. But we also seek the variances so that they can be platted independently. Mayor, Council Hughes, I'll put this up front. You'll see that collectively the property is almost 80 acres, so almost reaches that 40% threshold twice. We propose 278 units. That is 76 townhomes that you'll see fronting along the parkway, the spine road that travels through the property. And then another 220 double attached homes throughout. Some folks call them duplexes, but I really like to look at them as a different component of the townhomes because they're not traditionally what you would think about when you call duplexes. We have here, and you'll see here, phasing. So this property, it takes a while to draw civil plans and to get this built out. But this is proposed to be anywhere from about 26 units to 7 units per year built between 2026 and 2038. So this is a long-range project where the applicant would own it the entire time, and it would be built out as the market grows and as market demand is there. So you would start here in phase 2026, move to the phase 2027, which are the top two ones along Woodbury Highway, ending finally at the bottom left-hand side, which is the phase 13 in 2038. So it's a gradual build out over time as the market takes these up. Now, as presently zoned, we would have to do this similar development. We couldn't have driveways in the front. We would have to do shared on-street parking. That's why we're asking for the variance to permit driveways to occupy a portion of the front yard that exceeds that set out in your ordinance, because we want to do driveways, not shared on-street parking. That's what that would look like here, that you'll see on this slide. Alternatively, as presently zoned, you can also develop the property with multifamily. This is a rough sketch of a multifamily development, of multifamily being true apartment style, garden style apartments that you could do, phasing it under the 40-acre threshold as presently zoned. But we don't want to go that route. We want to end up with what we think is the most aesthetically pleasing and the best development that we can put forward, which is the single family attached townhomes and then attached duplexes with substantial green space throughout and parks throughout. I know there'll be and I just want to talk about some questions that we think we'll get. What is the market for these? Well, we've got a phased development. That's what I was talking about. The phases 1, 2, 3, all the way through 13, which is a build out from 2026 down to 2038. So it's a gradual uptick, but we see the need and we see that there's a market for folks to access jobs in all the areas that you can reach from Meriwether and within Meriwether and Woodbury. But you'll see the map here of the various commuter routes that you can see where there may be jobs for folks who will live in this development, spanning from Columbus all the way up to Peachtree City down to Macon. Here's another map, just a little more clear. Maybe the council got another example of that here. So back to the phasing plan. Again, I just want to reiterate that as presently zoned, we can do something similar to this. The variances before you are related to more than 40 acres, so we don't have to arbitrarily split it up. And 2, about driveways in the front, so we don't have to do shared on-street parking. Each unit can have its own dedicated individual driveway. With respect to this development, I do want to point out some interesting features. You'll see parks and amenity areas scattered throughout. You've got 5 large parks with a large open passive area here, and then the 4 parks scattered throughout. You've also got these townhomes are all rear entry townhomes along this main parkway, so that you'll have the front yard not being the driveway, not being the entrance, not being the garage. It's actually the front stoop with the walk up and the brownstone. They're accessed through alleyways here.
Sir, could you show, when you're showing them, could you flip them?
Yeah, certainly. So you'll see it up there. You see the parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll see the phasing. Phase 1 through 13. So 2026, scattered all the way down to 2038. And then with the alleyways, you'll see the alleyways here. Here's the main parkway, which runs down here to the large open amenity area, or passive park. The amenity area is here. And as those townhomes front on the main divided parkway, they're accessed actually through rear alleys here. So again, as you drive down this main road, it terminates in the open park. You're seeing the front of the houses. You're not seeing the driveway, or you're seeing the front of the townhomes. You're not seeing the driveway and the garage door. The driveway and the garage doors are all in the rear. So you actually see the aesthetically pleasing front facade of the house instead of the garage. And then you'll see the attached doubles all the way throughout. But the main focus is the front facades of those townhomes.
Where are the apartments at, the top?
There are no apartments.
Oh, the townhomes.
Yes, ma'am. So you see this large road that's a divided parkway with a green strip in the center?
Oh, all questions until after they have finished that presentation, because we got a time line here.
Sorry, Mayor. Another thing is the city is an internet provider through a contract. One of the things that, as we were designing this project, we realized is the ability to not only extend that city internet network through this project, but to strategically place access points throughout the development to extend the reach of the city's internet. And you'll see those little Wi-Fi marks, the little signals throughout. Those are just example areas, but we would scatter them out throughout as we got into the engineering of the project to put them in the best location based on consultation with the city's internet provider or internet consultant to make sure that A, they served the whole development, and B, served other areas outside of development in the city, again, to extend the strength and extend the reach of the network. Some folks may have some questions about traffic access on this property. Again, Woodbury Highway is going to be the main access. If you look back, the parkway that circles through the property, or that spans all the property, comes out onto Woodbury Highway where you've got your access point There is a second, almost tertiary access point that runs along Bartee Road, but that is not a primary access point. We view that as just really a back way out, and it's also an essential feature for emergency services to access the property. You know, if you had a wreck here, it'd be hard for a fire truck to get down here, or heaven forbid you had something happen at the park and a wreck here, that provides you access that way. But Mr. Acampor can address some of that, he's here, but these are just distributions that show the vast majority of the entrance and exits, 45% heading west on Woodbury Highway, 25% heading east, and then 10%, 30% on Bartee Road, 10% north, 20% south, and those are both to and from. Styles of the homes. So what you have here is this is what that double attached product would look like. Garage in the front, 2 stories, about 1,800 square foot average, some mixtures of 2s, bedrooms, 3 bedrooms along those lines. Another example of what that attached product looks like. What really would try to be done here is a variety of materials across the facade, so you get, each unit looks individual, doesn't look like the same one that's next to it. And you can also accomplish that variety through a mixture of paint colors as well as window dressings. Here's another example, street view. This is what that townhome product would look like. So as you drove down that main parkway to the passive park area, this is what the units fronting on the road would look like. For folks not close to the screen. There's another example, again, so as you're coming down the main parkway.
Can you turn that around?
Yep. So as you're coming down, again, down the main parkway, as you're coming down the main parkway, this is the facade that you would see. So those are all rear entry where they drive through your residence, and I can show you on this plan. Different. They would access through the rear. So this is the facade you would see as you come down, all the units fronting along that parkway. This is what the rear of those units would look like. So when you're actually in the alleyway, you can see what it's like to drive through the alleyway and have your garage and your driveway internal to the alleyway, which allows you to preserve, again, the street facade here, the street trees, front yard area, and just the straight walk up. So with that, I'll leave the main plan up. Again, the variance requests, the items that will be before the Planning Commission, that will be before this body when it comes before you in late September, are the 2 variances. One, to allow us to have driveways in the front yard on the units that are not townhomes, so that we don't have to do on-street shared parking with those. And 2, to have a development of more than 40 acres, again, so we can have a cohesive development and not something with an arbitrary phase line between it, which allows us to do that parkway with all the townhomes fronting it. It also just allows you to blend it all together and not end up with an arbitrary phasing line like I'll show you. Like you could have right here, you know, if you had to cut it in half for it to be 40 acres each. So that's the request. We hope that if it comes before this body that you would vote to approve both of those requests so that we can make this the best development we possibly can. Again, without those, the property is still zoned sufficient for development comparable to this, but we really hope you would grant the variances so that we can make it the best development we possibly can. Thank you for your time tonight. thank you for your time in September. We really look forward to developing this project, being a part of Woodbury for the foreseeable future, because again, the applicant intends to own this and lease it out over its life cycle. One more point, the variances will also permit, should the market conditions dictate it in the future, for these homes to be individually platted, so that later in the life cycle, when it's built out, if they need to be sold, or there's an interest to sell one, some, or all, or for somebody to buy them, then you've got that ability to transition. During the period which the applicant's gonna own it, it will be under common control and maintenance. So the same company, Triple C Ventures, which is based out of Sonoy, will be maintaining all the grounds, all the units, all the yards, all the maintenance. So everything will remain in pristine condition. There'll be one entity that you go to if there's any issues. You know, if one lawn's cut, all the lawns are gonna be cut. If one house needs to be painted, all the houses that need to be painted are gonna be painted. So we really think that's a positive aspect as well. Again, thanks for your time. Mayor, Council, if you have any questions, be happy to answer those this time. Look forward to any questions anybody else may have.
Yeah, any of your staff gonna be, do they need to say anything?
I think I've covered most of it. We're just all here so that we've got all the individual experts here to answer any questions anybody may have.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you for that presentation, Stephen. So I'll